God. Real quick. So y'all, the meat and potatoes is. I saw the movie Thunderbolts. I know that movie's been out and gone, but Andy told me about it, and I forgot about it. But yeah, I wanted to see it, so I saw the movie Thunderbolts. We're going to talk about that. But really, the meat of the potatoes is Fantastic Four, which is why we're calling this. Is it
FFN4?
FFN4, Fantastic Four, because it was just that. Fantastic.
Spears and Steinberg.
You know what the it is?
Aries and Andy. Chewing the jerk.
You know it's time to get this work.
The real raw, gutter, uncut, cold. No political corrections.
Always sleep.
Being awoke. We discuss politics and jokes.
Scribe, we lit.
There's levels to this before you was on your mama.
Aries Spears don't give a fuck.
We talk about race a lot, racism. Much love to my loyal bag holders.
Rollers, loaders.
We got them in the folders.
The whole world on our shoulders.
Spears and Steinberg.
Yeah.
There's a little bit of appetizer conversation. Because, some people have dropped off, man. We've lost a lot of people.
They didn't get lost.
Well, they went to the next realm.
Okay, yeah, because we know where they are.
Right. My heart's heaviest for Malcolm-Jamal Warner, man.
Yeah. I talked about that last night on stage. Actually, it came up organically, yeah.
Yeah. We were all related to him. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, come on, man. The Cosby Show, we know how pivotal of a role that played in black representation, beautiful black representation. And, Theo, man, everybody who didn't want to be Theo, tragic loss, man. God rest his soul and love and blessings to his family, man.
But what I said, the reason that one hurts more, I guess I should say it that way.
And he was 54.
He was young, and there's quite a few people that passed. But what I'm saying, listen, Ozzy passed. And no, and this is not to be negative toward or to try to demean anybody. And it's not. Everybody passing is significant to everyone. They have people in their lives that are going to miss them. But when Ozzy passed, Ozzy had some health issues, and you're like, okay, and you weren't expecting him, but he's had a full life, and you went, okay, rest in peace, good. Hopefully, everything's great. To the sadness for the family, right? But when Malcolm-Jamal Warner passed, he was trying to save his daughter. And you know what I mean? It wasn't. It was not only was it a tragedy, but the situation was a tragedy that he passed. And so that's why I talked about it a little bit, because we were talking about some people that passed, and that one was that's the thing that really he was doing everything to be the right person that you want to believe that everybody is.
And I hate that I deleted it, but once upon a time ago, I had a picture that I posted on Instagram with me and him. I saw him at LAX airport, and I had never met him prior to. And I said, yo, brother, I just want to, and this is the cool part about me being famous, is because, the people that I grew up on, the people that I know, once upon a time ago, when they were famous before me and I was a nobody, if I would have walked up to them then, maybe they'd give me some love, and, especially if they're genuinely a nice person. But he knew me. You know what I'm saying? Like, he knew who I was. And he was like, dude, I love your work, man, and blah, blah, blah. So to get that mutual love back on that level and that respect and that acknowledgement from somebody that you really, truly acknowledge and admire and that you grew up on, it felt good. And I was proud of that picture. And I now I feel like for deleting it.
It's in your Instagram still, then.
I got to scroll way back.
Yeah.
And this was so long ago, dude. And part of me wants to scroll back because I want to repost it. So yeah, man, this damn dude. Sometimes you hear about certain people passing and you go, oh, this okay, but that's so unexpected. Him,
yeah,
you know what I mean? At that age,
yeah.
So, damn, dude.
Like I said, it's not just the age, the tragedy, the reason why he's in there. All that it adds to the the sadness of departing.
Right.
Also, the Hulk.
Well, before we get there, and listen, Mark, you're 34, right?
Yes, sir.
So the Cosby Show, you didn't even, but
No, I didn't really watch it.
You didn't really watch it because you were too young. What was the Cosby Show? How long ago was that?
I was more of a Good Times fan.
But it was before your time.
He tried.
Yeah, I know. Some of the most impactful television moments from the Cosby Show, two of which are immediately come to my mind, is when they did the big lip sync moment to Ray Charles.
Yeah.
This is the nighttime, and Keisha Knight Pulliam, baby, with the missing teeth, and that one, and the one that really got the show, told you the tone of the show, was the one where Theo has the bad grades and his room is messy, and he says to Bill Cosby that he goes on that little rant where he goes, well, maybe you could accept me and love me because I'm your son. And of course, they did the classic TV sitcom. The audience applauds. Oh, and like the great comedian he is, Bill Cosby, with the timing, the pause, the silence. Theo, that's the dumbest thing I ever heard. And that moment was great. And there was actually two moments in that same scene when Cosby was trying to break down to him about how money works with the monopoly money, if you remember.
Yeah.
And he goes, like all kids who think they know everything, he's telling them, I could get by on this much money. And he goes, because I'm going to just be a regular person. And Cosby goes, well, okay, see, here's the money you got. I think it was like $200 or whatever it was. And Cosby takes half. And he goes, hey. He goes, yeah, taxes, yeah, they come after the regular people first. Just the way that the whole moment he played it, and then when he broke it down to where every time Bill would take a certain amount of money, Theo would take it back because he'd find a cheaper way to live until finally he got down to his last couple dollars. And Bill goes, and before he does it, Theo thinks he has a victory. And he goes, so see, Dad, after all that, I still got this much money. And Cosby, again, with the perfect timing and silence, goes, you plan on having a girlfriend? Absolutely. And that takes the rest of the money. The show was smart. It was just a great show.
It was. It was a really, and there's certain people that you grow up with in your life, and you're connected to them. And the great thing about the Cosby Show, and people have said this before,
and he saved NBC, by the way.
He did save NBC,
right?
But the great thing about the show is obviously it's a black show because it's a black family.
It's an American show.
But that's what I was going to say. But it represented all of America. And as a white kid, I didn't even think of it as a black show. I'm saying it from an entertainment perspective right now. It's a black because there isn't any black. There's so few black shows that I'll look back at that and go, look, there's a black cast. It's a black show. But as a kid, when I'm watching it, it's like you said, it's an American show. I wasn't distinguishing between a black family and a white family at that moment.
Well, America does that.
Yeah,
because and I don't want to get off topic because this is really about Malcolm-Jamal Warner, but was Good Times an American show? It was a black show.
Yeah.
And listen, it was the thing where at that point in time, everybody was going, America's #1 TV dad. White kids wanted Bill to be their father.
But I think okay, with Good Times, it was trying to give you a peek into black existence in America.
Right.
Where the Cosby Show was going, this is what all Americans go through.
But to that, it was also saying we're not just Good Times.
Right.
We're not just that image. Yes, that part of it exists, but we are also this.
Yeah, we exist in the middle class America just like everyone else does.
There are mothers and fathers in the homes.
And we have professional jobs, and we go to school and think about our kids the same exact way everyone else does. And that's what I mean by it was an American.
And our children don't go, where is you going? What is you saying? What is you doing? They say R, goddammit.
It would have been funny if that show was out right now.
What? Cosby Show?
Yeah. And Cosby would have had that. He would obviously.
Oh, that's the lesson?
Yeah.
Dad, what are you talking about? Theo With me and your mother raised you better than that. You don't say is where it's supposed to be, and are. What is you saying? Yeah.
As you know, what are you putting in my drink?
What? Bill, what is you putting in my drink? Oh, baby, I'm not putting anything in your drink. What I are doing. Oh, my God. So, Ozzy Osbourne,
That's
obviously.
the very complex conversation that we just
Right.
had about Cosby. Okay.
Ozzy Osbourne doesn't affect me the way that Malcolm-Jamal Warner affects me.
It is. I would hope not.
What if Ozzy goes to heaven and God is actually a bat and bites his head off? That's a cartoon. That's again the evolution of the pod. I wish we could have these moments where sometimes, just like inside the NBA on TNT, I say something and then we cut to a cartoon, because that would be a funny cartoon to see Ozzy in heaven at the pearly gates. He goes, "Oh God, I can't believe it. Go to the bat," and the bat just and just bites his head off.
Well, as soon as we get all hooked up with AI, it'll be easy to do that. You'll see.
Oh, that's right. AI now. We could take advantage of shit like that.
Make us a cartoon.
I'm telling you, dude, we going to get this. When we, like you said, the radio station, when we find this shit, oh, boy.
Yeah, no, Ozzy, listen, I was never like, I'm not a heavy rock dude, I like a little more soulful sound.
Yeah.
And there are songs that I do like, and there's musicians I appreciate, and I appreciate what Ozzy's effect on music was. Crazy Train is the song that I know him most for. I'm not the hugest, Ozzy fan, but that show that he had was pretty funny. With his family.
Yeah.
And I watched it a few times, and I find him to be an interesting person. He broke a lot of rules in the music industry. Plus, he was he was in the music industry when you weren't supposed to be a chubby white dude from England. And he defined his own genre with his voice, and I'll give him credit. He had a voice. So there.
Were you a fan?
I don't have an Ozzy.
So you weren't a fan.
I don't. I like Crazy. Like if I was there and there was a record that I could pick up at a store, you can pick them up at a store. But if I was going through a record bin and there was a used album, I wouldn't be against picking it up. It's just not. It's not the stuff that I listen to.
Now here's the passing that is quite controversial, particularly with the blacks. Hulk Hogan. Now, I've seen so many posts. I don't know if it's gotten to a trending part yet, but,
Cosby came back to say it right now.
There's so many people in the black community that's basically like that. But then I saw some black people posting where they go, look, despite what he said, which they say he apologized for, we all make mistakes. The bottom line is a man is gone. And even though, I believe he never made up with his daughter. She was estranged from his daughter. And, people loved him. And a man's gone. So just out of respect, show respect. But listen, black folks is like, man, f that. This was a piece of shit. He said what he said. He was, and listen, I didn't know the quote completely until somebody posted it, and I read it. And what's hard is, it wasn't like he said once. He said it 3 times. Something about, I don't want my daughter with a unless he's a rich, like a ball player, NBA player. Brother. So, we torn on this. And, interesting enough, Michael Rappaport. Did you see the post I posted?
Yeah.
With Michael Rappaport?
Yeah.
And a lot of people like, yo, fuck Michael Rappaport. Because he goes, what we not going to do is disrespect a legend because he was one of the first pioneers of wrestling and did it. And in my caption, I go, so because somebody is iconic in pop culture or they've, made certain accomplishments, they're exempt and get a pass. Because if a regular person did that, they would absolutely not get a pass. But because you're famous and you've made XY contributions and you're iconic, you get a pass?
I don't think he meant it as you get a pass.
Then what else could it be?
I think he's saying that, he still has a place in history. Like, let's go back to Cosby. I've said it before. Cosby up. He got caught, whatever it is you say, but the artist, the person who made the contributions to the world, I have to be able to separate those two.
You can still watch an episode of The Cosby Show.
Without a problem. I can still listen to a Cosby album, just because none of us are without, sin. Let's put it that way. That's the way that I can say it. None of us are without sin. None of us are 100%. We all have some broken parts of us, and yeah, we can say how horrible some of the stuff Cosby did was. But as an artist, as a person who had a message that it was promoted, that he felt was beneficial, and in a lot of respects, I look at it and I go, it was. How can I not separate that? Hulk was entertainment, though. He wasn't trying to, I don't think that he was necessarily trying to move the needle in any way. He had, he was up. He said some up shit. That's how he felt. If he apologized for it, I don't give a shit. If he apologized for it and he actually meant it, like there was a difference, like he realized what was wrong, that would make a difference to me. But his accomplishments in wrestling,
I think he did, though.
I'm not asking, though. I don't know. You can say that. You can say he.
Oh,
he
yeah.
meant
It seems like he apologized a lot, calling it the biggest mistake of his life.
Yeah, but see, that again always feels like it's because you got caught.
Okay, but my point is,
But
it doesn't change his wrestling.
What person ever comes out of the shadows without no evidence, never having been caught, and just goes, you know what, y'all? Yesterday I was just home and I was feeling a certain way, and I called black people, and I just want to say I'm sorry. Well, no one would have known that unless you didn't tell us. Who does that?
No, I just think it's funny because the realization from one day to the next, I doesn't think it happens that way. Do you know what I mean? I don't think you're like...
If you were genuinely sorry and went, oh, like you went to bed and woke up the next day like a hangover and go, what did I do? Oh, I f***ed up. So if that realization should happen immediately. If you know that's wrong...
But I don't think most people know it's wrong until I don't think if you're a racist, if your core is racism, you were brought up in a racist. Let's say you're brought up in a racist family, and that's their core message. You don't fuck with black folks. And they don't say it that way, but you don't fuck with black folks. So, and that's how you grew up. And then as you grow up, and so you said it, that was comfortable to you. But as you get older, and then you go out into the world and you meet people, and you go, oh, like you start realizing my family was f***ed up. I come from a up place. I don't think that you go one day yes and the next day no. I think it's over a period of time where you realize that you're f***ed up. All of us take time to realize what we're f***ed up about, and then hopefully we fix those things. That's why people go to therapy. That's why people do different things. But I don't think there's an epiphany where you say it one day and the next day you're clean.
And the interesting part was there were a lot of people in the comments that were like, listen, Mike Rappaport, you're so full of because if he had said something about the Jewish community, you'd have gave him the verbal business.
No, I think if he had said something about the Jewish community today, referring to today, but if he had something in his past, and I'm going to say this, and a lot of people are going to disagree with me, but if you're talking about black folks, you probably talk some about Jews too, and vice versa, because we run not on the same track, but on parallel tracks. As far as racism goes.
The Jews, we don't run, we take cabs.
Was he just being specific, though, as we've talked about on this podcast?
What do you mean?
He wasn't talking about black people.
Who was it?
Hulk Hogan. Maybe it wasn't. He was talking about N-words.
Don't do that.
But what's the intent of his heart? He's talking about all black folks.
Hold on one second. I remember when people came at me because
I wasn't talking about black people, African Americans, brother. I was talking about. God, I used to be able to do a good Hulk Hogan.
But remember when I was on the podcast and I said that, and people came at me because they said I'm going hard at Mark and I treat Mark differently, and if Aries did that, all the. See, this is why you bring people up slowly. You want to bring people in slowly so they can address these conversations in a good way. That's. You don't just let them open up the door and come running in and saying, hey, did he mean it that way? Or was he just really talking about,
I'm just saying there's
So-
a double standard.
There is a double standard, but but that wasn't what he was saying. Because here's the difference: when you say I don't want my daughter around any of these, and whatever euphemism you want to use in there, unless they're athletes. Now he's being very specific, and so I'm saying to you, no.
Well, maybe it means no rappers.
If he said I don't want my daughter around a rapper, that would be.
He said I don't want. He said I don't want.
There's
my
actually a
daughter
more
with-
inclusive term for that.
He said I don't want my daughter around broke. If she's gonna be with a, let him be in the NFL or the NBA.
So he was putting them all in one category. It
So that's
wasn't-
okay then. That means it's not just skin color.
No.
It's not. All right.
He's really trying on that one. But here's my question for you, and this has nothing to do with the race. When they bury the Hulkster, is it in the red shorts with the yellow shirt? Is it in the? Is he
In the outfit?
Is he the Hulkster when he goes down, or do you put him in a suit?
Nah, I say put him in that bandana and that shirt ripped.
Yeah, because I don't want to see his bald head and the hair that doll hair.
So I'm Macho Man Randy Savage talking about Hulk Hogan to some people about him not liking. He's very specific about his daughter, and I'm gonna give me like I don't know 8 seconds of ranting, and then I want you to be the black guy and ask me, "Hey, Macho Man, you think I got a shot at Hogan's daughter? You ready?" No. I'm gonna tell you something about Hogan. The guy's always been specific about his daughter. He don't just want her with anybody. He wants her to keep the money in the family and make the right choices.
Hey, Macho Man, do you think I have a shot at throwing it in Hulk's daughter?
Are you black?
Yeah.
Do the knowledge, nigga.
If you would have said that, would have been okay.
I guess. No, do the knowledge, nigga.
How many have you said that? Do the knowledge? I don't say the whole thing, but I say sometimes I've said it on stage. Just do the knowledge, just because it just
no.
rolls, and I was like, do the knowledge.
Right, do the knowledge. But you gotta have that aggression, though. Do the knowledge, like you should know this.
No, KRS-One would have said it. He could have said it, and without any aggression.
It wouldn't have felt the same. You need that. Pedro put that spice on that motherfucker. So yeah, there we go. So rest in peace
All y'all.
to all y'all.
Do you think they have do you think there's it's like a bus? They're all on the bus together.
I don't want to go down this road. And you know what? We didn't mention, but I didn't really even know who he was. I knew the famous tune.
Oh, yeah,
Chuck Mangione.
Yeah.
Dude,
Dude, he was a hell of a musician, though, man.
Oh, really?
Yeah, watch that. If you watch that video, the one that's on, I forgot, man. He plays the keyboards. He goes over and starts playing. He plays the trumpet, then goes over and plays the keyboards, and then goes back to he's and the guy. I grew up. My sixth grade teacher loved him, and so we had music on Fridays, I think, and that played in our class. So,
and you know what? Speaking of musical acts and music, folks, you gotta check this out. Pull this up, Mark, because I want to make sure. I think it's called Sunday's Best from Netflix. And I told Andy to please look at this, and maybe while we're in New Jersey next week, we could talk about it. I saw a fantastic documentary about the history of the Ed Sullivan Show. It's called Sunday's Best, and it's on Netflix. Awesome. And listen, man, Ed Sullivan was one of them dudes, man. And when I say one of them dudes, I mean one of them white dudes that helped the movement, that helped the culture. Because I really didn't know about Ed Sullivan other than him being Ed Sullivan, the Ed Sullivan Show. But when you watch this doc, if it wasn't for Ed Sullivan, a lot of black artists, man, he helped a lot of black artists.
well, black artists weren't on TV.
at all.
Except for Sullivan. And even before the Johnny Carson's Night Show, it was the, I forgot the guy's name that had that show. It was tough for a black dude to get on that show.
Listen, a lot of people credited Arsenio, and rightly so, when they went, yo, Arsenio was putting acts on and giving black people a place to shine where we knew Johnny Carson and Jay Leno and Letterman wasn't. So Arsenio, you know, he helped the culture, no doubt. But Ed Sullivan was doing what Arsenio did before Arsenio. Now, that's not to discredit the brother at all, you know, because he still had a responsibility, and he did what he did, and we're grateful for it, and we needed that. But Ed Sullivan, he kicked that door open when he didn't have to.
Well, he must have had so much more power than anybody else on television.
Oh, absolutely. Watch this. The doc tells you all that.
Because, I mean, you can talk all the black acts he put on there. The fact that he put Elvis on there.
The Beatles.
Yeah, they didn't want any of that on TV.
Well, but we
Beatles
know
they did.
But we know that, you know, they have a shot of getting on without any retribution.
Well, they wanted Elvis though shot from the waist up. That was the only thing that they had.
Right. But there's one particular moment in this, and I don't want to give it away because I really want you to see it, where Ed Sullivan put on like a African Swahili dance troupe, and they were singing and dancing African, like real African shit. And for 1955, that was unheard of.
This right here is
Nina Simone.
That right there, that moment was that's a huge moment.
Yeah.
We're watching the videos, guys. Sorry.
Yeah. And of course him dealing with that whole timing of when basically all of the South was like, hey man, you keep putting these black acts on, we're not watching you. But then it was interesting because they said in the doc, he got a lot of letters from people in the South that went, keep doing what you're doing. We love it. We love being introduced to a part of culture that we don't get introduced to. That shocked the shit out of me.
But that was a powerful show.
Yeah, 34 million viewers every Sunday.
Do you know what would happen if we had 34 million? That's for a Super Bowl.
Right.
So, I want to watch it. I want to watch it because I think that's very interesting. I know a lot. I actually do know quite a bit about it.
Yeah.
Because there's been other documentaries, but I want to see it.
Yeah.
Very influential for stand-up comedy too, because it was like shows like that Sullivan Show, like mainly that brought it
The whole
into
vaudeville era.
Well, see,
in their living room.
but when we talk about Ed Sullivan, there's other shows that don't get talked about anymore. The Dinah Shore Show was a show that used to have a lot of acts on it, and Mom's Mabley, I think, was on Dinah Shore, but they didn't have like musical guests or people that were considered part of a movement on those shows, those kind of shows. Those were all typically like white, very white, homogenized acts. And if they did go a little out of their way, it usually was white. Like I saw on Dinah Shore again, there was an Iggy Pop, which I don't know if you know who he is. He was a punk rocker. He was the lead singer of the Stooges. And they had him on, and it just doesn't fit. But they put Iggy Pop on. But a black act wasn't going to get on the same way.
Yeah.
So it's very interesting how many, like when you talk to me about it, and we do have our arguments about it, if we go to that time period, yes, a lot more avenues for white acts than there was. It was a big deal for a black act to get on a white show.
Yeah.
So I do agree with you. I'm just saying we're not living in that time.
So it's called Sunday's Best, guys. Check it out. So that way, when we talk about it, you guys will have done the homework.
Let's get into this fantastic.
Well, before Fantastic Four, so Thunderbolts. Dude, I only had one note. And see, this is where I go. I know I could. If I was like you, and I'm not calling you a geek because I don't think you are, but if I was the guy that goes to Comic-Con, if I was the guy that dressed up as a superhero, if I was the guy that collected comic books, then maybe I would be more in the know. But it's like, I know the A players. You know, I know Iron Man and Thor and Hulk and Spider-Man. I don't know the B team. And I'm watching this going, other than Bucky Barnes, who I only know because of the Avengers movies and Winter Soldier, who are these?
Well, Wyatt Russell was the Captain America. That was the Captain
Which I
America.
never liked, and I
didn't
couldn't
like him
watch
in-
it. I couldn't watch it because when he put that helmet on, he just had the Six Flags Great Adventure old man mouth.
So that one.
But these characters really are comic book characters, right?
Yeah.
You see, I didn't know any of
See,
these guys.
this is like the Suicide Squad from DC. This is the B characters.
Yeah, man.
But it was written funny. It didn't take itself seriously.
Oh, I liked it.
Yeah.
I definitely liked it.
Yeah, it was.
I just didn't know who these were.
I thought it was fun. I really did think it was fun. Julie Louis-Dreyfus in it is kind of interesting to see her.
Well, she's the only one to have a life after Seinfeld.
Well, Seinfeld's doing fine.
I mean, he's not doing anything, but he's doing fine. Yeah, he's got enough money.
Larry David may be doing a little bit better.
Yeah.
Larry David has another show that's coming out.
Oh, does he?
Yeah, I think it's only 8 episodes, but he works when he wants to work.
Right.
So,
Like the guy that played the father of the Russian chick.
yeah,
Now I know he was in Black Widow, which I never saw, but I thought his character was hilarious.
yeah, he's great. He's great, and that's what a B character should be. Someone who's excited, because we see superheroes and they're never. That's the funniest part. It's a burden to be a superhero.
Yeah.
But he's excited for his superhero part.
Well, he even says he wants to get back in the swing of things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it gives you another look at a superhero and what it is to be a superhero. And I thought it's very comic book like. I think it stays true to comic books, and I not necessarily to what's written about comic books, but the characters. And I enjoyed the hell out of that. I thought it was so funny and also the actions there. It's good. I would definitely want to see it.
Yeah.
So I'm glad you liked it at least.
Oh, I definitely liked it.
But you didn't. Nothing stood out really.
If I don't know who the people are, it's hard for me to totally invest. But it's so good that I got into it. But like I said, I was just going, I don't know. Other than Bucky, I don't know who these are. And I know if I was a comic book fanatic geek, I would know.
Well, I like how they can have different Captain Americas because Captain America isn't like a natural superhero. It's it's a government pro.
Yeah, but Chris Evans is a tough act to follow.
Okay, but it's still he's like this up Superman. I don't know. I really not Superman. Captain America. I think it was just a good watch. Like if you wanted a fun watch, it's kind of how I feel about Superman. It was a fun watch.
That's like I'm happy to see a brother in a starring role like Anthony Mackie in the movie with the Red Hulk. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's the star. He's taken Captain America's mantle. But I told you I don't do change well, and where Chris Evans, man? Like, where Chris Evans? I'm happy for the brother. You know what I mean? Black superhero lead in the movie. But come on, man.
Dude, but they addressed that like a couple of times. You're not Captain America. I mean, how many times did they say that in that movie?
Right.
Like 2 or 3 times?
Right.
You're not Captain America. So, I mean, it's addressing your feelings, though,
Yeah.
And, but you do a good job at the part that you have.
Right.
And I wish they would do more with Iron Man with that because Iron Man wasn't always Tony Stark.
Right.
So there's ways to, we'll see what they do with this next thing. But let's go Fantastic Four, man, because I'm really excited to get your opinion on this because we usually say we're not going to talk about it, but then we say a few things.
Listen, man,
But
it's official. I'm spoiled. I refuse to see any superhero movie that's not in 3D, and this was everything I thought it was going to be with the 3D. Because when I saw Superman in 3D, I went, "Yo, the colors, it pops." And especially with this 60s aesthetic, right? Because it's taking place in like the 60s. It felt like, I swear to God, I was looking at a live comic book, but in action. And that's why I said to the lady at the comic book store, as cool as this is, as cool as this looks, I'm a watcher, I'm not a reader. And when I saw this in 3D, I feel like I am watching a comic book. And when I talked to Neri, he was like, yeah, you know, you got to see it in 4D. What was it? 4DX? Or it's a step above 3D. And I said, what is that? He goes, that's where, you know, the seats move. If there's rain, you get water spritz on you.
It's what they have at Disney.
Steam comes out of the... I think I'm about to step the game up. Because this is a roller coaster ride that I go, that all makes sense.
Yeah.
Moving seats, rain, effects. Give me the whole thing.
I would love to see this Fantastic Four in that, and I love like the aesthetic, man, doing it in that 50. Everything was 50s modern furniture, the architecture. It's just they really. What's nice about if you're going to do a comic book movie, and this is a standalone. This isn't part of the MCU. I mean, it's not part of that universe. This is. They really take you to a they went and picked you up and they brought you over here and said, here, this is it, because you're in a different you're in a city, but you're not in a city that you've seen before.
Right.
The streets look that way, but the whole, when you look at the view, when you zoom out, it's a different place, and you kind of really, it's easier to go where they want you to go when they do that for you.
And listen, man, I gotta say, coming off the coming off the last 3 attempts. And, you know, the first 2 movies where they had Chris Evans originally playing Johnny Storm. And my man, I can't think of his real name, but the dude from, what's the TV show? He played Ben Grimm. He played The Thing and The Shield.
Yeah, I know.
That dude. You know, those first 2 movies.
You got that? Can you do that?
From The Shield?
Yeah, from The Shield.
Michael something?
Yeah, Michael Schicknick, or it sounds like
those first 2 movies had its look, right?
Yeah.
And then they come out with that horrendous Fantastic Four.
Michael Chiklis.
With Michael B. Jordan. So you had those first 2 images in your head with Michael Chiklis, that look, right? And then you have the horrible one with Michael B. Jordan. Doing this way with this 60s thing, you needed a huge departure to get that bad taste out of your mouth. And I'm telling you, when this was over, I turned to Andy and I go, this was fantastic. They finally got it right.
The cast, I when I saw the cast, I was like, I don't know. When I saw it before, and it brings every character pops. I thought every character popped. I wasn't sold on every character, but every character.
Who weren't you sold on?
I wasn't.
Even after you saw it?
No, after I saw it. I was
sold.
Sold. But they felt like comic book. Like it brought the comic book to life. And I wasn't sold on Pascal. How do you say his name? Pascal?
Jean Pascal. I think it's Jean, what is it? Pascal's the actor?
Pedro Pascal?
Yeah,
Pedro Pascal. Jesus.
I wasn't sold. I was like...
Feel free to rescue us, nigga. Anytime. Feel free.
It's funny to watch you guys drown.
I thought he was too short. I didn't think everything he's played. I never seen like it. I think of him as a little taller. And so, but man,
a little taller. That's why he stretches.
Yeah, he hit everything. Like I watched,
bed.
and when they were doing everything, I was like, when it was coming up and they're developing all the characters. And again, they didn't do this in Superman, and I know that James Gunn said it wasn't needed because we all know what happened. We all know how the Fantastic Four get there, but they gave you just enough, just a little bit. Little look.
You didn't need a whole origin story.
No, just a little look, just a little something to get you there, and they blended that in nicely. And as soon as they did that little piece, I was in on all the characters.
Right.
The characters really had this great the way. I didn't think it was well written. There's some things in there that it worked. There was some things that are missing that I wanted, but the way that they talk, the way that they go with each other, man, it felt right. The only one that kind of stood out, and it somehow it didn't feel like they were on the same exact page, was that Paul Walker, the guy playing Mole Man.
Oh.
He has more of that, like more of that 40s kind of character to me than the 60s character that they're in.
Yeah.
And he's only in it for a small amount of time, And just at the very beginning, I didn't feel like it hit the same note, but I could be completely off on it because his character just stood out for. And the moment and and the nods that they gave to the comic books to present everything. When I saw the Puppet Master was on there, just a quick boom, and it was on there. I was like, wow. That they just gave these nods to some of the comics that had come out in the past that were essential to in the Fantastic Four.
You know, I thought in the first two Fantastic Fours, you know, the stretching of Reed, what was it, the doctor's name? Richard Reed, felt cheesy to me. And of course, it was an abomination again with the Michael B. Jordan effects. This looked beautiful.
Well, because when Galactus stretches,
I thought that moment was the
because Galactus is huge, and so they can make him smaller.
Right.
And the way he stretched him out like he was nothing,
right, almost to the point where you thought he was going to snap in half.
And that makes sense because Galactus is this huge. And it gave unintended, whether in your head, and I believe this was the intention of it. You saw how giant Galactus is,
right?
Not because of the size that he takes up on screen, because Galactus can change sizes. It was about how it affected Richard Reed because he stretched him like he was like the littlest,
right?
And so you get the enormity of Galactus.
Let me tell you something. I thought when they first showed Galactus, when they go into space, it's intimidating. It's intimidating how dark it is, how big he is, and then like you say, when he goes into the city and you see his presence, I thought that shit was it got me.
I read somebody said that he wasn't big enough. And I was like, Galactus changes. He can change size. That's up to him. But,
right.
But to put him on Earth, I mean, how much bigger did you want him to be? Like he was barely able to stand.
Right.
I felt it fit into the character, but size also has to do how you perceive it. And like again, when he stretches him out, Galactus is huge. You see the difference of him. Oh, and there's a nod to Fantastic Four 48 when they're in their uniforms, and then the Galactus figures behind them. That meant something to me.
See, again, that's where you beat me in terms of
nerdiness,
the geekdom.
Yeah, that's an impressive cover. So not 48. That's 49. Sorry, I apologize. I even made a mistake on it. That's 49 that has the one that I'm thinking of.
And you know what, dude? What I loved about this, I thought that it had power and heart. Because even though you knew that, first of all, Sue Storm, she wasn't going to die. It's Fantastic Four, and they're going to make a sequel. So you knew she wasn't going to die. But the way they set it up in the beginning where Richard Reed is basically talking to his son, and he goes, I don't want to learn about you from computers. I want you to show me who you're going to be. And he turns the computers off. All the scientific shit. Let nature take its course. So they already set it up to where you knew the baby had some powers, and you knew she wasn't going to die. So you knew, I saw it. I think we all saw it coming that the baby was going to be the reason she came back to life. But even though it was predictable, it was sweet. It was heartfelt.
Well, see, this is where the comic book ruins it though for you, because if you know the comic book, you know who the kid is, and once you know who the kid is, you know what's going to happen.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
See, okay, so put it like that. If you knew that, having seen the comic book, does it lessen it for you, the moment?
No, because they did it well. Because they didn't follow everything from the comic book story, because they took different pieces to put it together.
Right.
I just felt like they did a really good job with everything. I think they could have done a little bit better with Mole Man. If they're going to use him, I wish they would have just...
see, but see, this maybe because I don't know the comic book.
You felt like it was perfect.
I didn't care about that.
Yeah, well,
that meant nothing to me.
But see, that's what it was. You didn't care about it, and I wanted you to care a little bit about it. That's what I mean.
Right.
It was throwaway. And
is Mole Man that essential?
No. Well, he's from the very first comic book, and the character that you know what it is? Paul. What's his name? Paul Walker. It's 3 names. He's like an assassin. He has 3 names.
What is it? Who's he playing?
Paul. He's Mole Man.
Mole Man.
Oh yeah.
Paul, is it Paul? I just want to make sure I got his name right. I think this guy. This is the guy who does that thing on the plane.
Yeah, with the little kid.
Yeah,
Paul Walter Hauser.
Paul Walter Hauser. Thank you, because I knew I had it wrong. dude is such a great actor, and everything that he's
remember,
done
we saw that movie where he,
with the big sideburns guy. I forgot the name of it.
Where he played a killer, right?
Yeah, he is
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
And so when I saw it was him, I wanted a little bit more of how great he is. So
Yeah.
I think that's my disappointment. And it was probably fine for everyone, but for me, it felt like a little bit of throwaway for such a great actor and a part that could have been a little bit more. I guess I wanted some more is what I'm saying. And then, because they already gave nods to other characters, but they did it in a different way. So if you're going to have them, like, use them. You got this great actor. I wanted more.
And I mean, and listen, again, another predictable moment. You knew that, again, when Johnny Storm goes, tell little Franklin, Uncle Johnny said he loves him. And he goes to go sacrifice himself. You knew at that moment Silver Surfer was going to come in and save the day. But even though it was predictable, I felt that. I love that. That got me a little bit.
Well, this is where, like, it goes astray from the comic book. And I was wondering how they were going to get to this. And in a cheesy way, this works. Because that's Shala Ball.
Yeah.
And that's
from Ozark. Oh, God.
No, her name is, what is her name? Here, I have it.
Julia Garner?
Yeah, Julia Garner. She's playing Shala Ball, which is
She was so awesome in Ozark.
She is, and she's the female. It's the female Silver Surfer, and the character exists in the comics, but that should have been Norrin Rad is who it should have been. But the way that they set this up, and I know it's important. I know we're having inclusion, and we want a woman if the part fits, and they didn't take her from nowhere. She exists in the comic book,
Right.
but then there's a little thing between her and Johnny Storm, right?
Yeah.
So they have that little thing, and he makes her understand how they feel, which is important because that's the backstory of Silver Surfer anyway. But that's not how it happens, where it comes out of nowhere and just kicks Galactus into that little portal. So it was cool because it works because it got to the emotion of why Silver Surfer would do that. And there's a different way that storyline actually happens. But this was, for a movie and for the way that it worked and how they did it, I'm not mad at it. I'm really not. The comic book guy that wants the story that's in the comic book is a little...
Disappointed?
Not disappointed, but just a little... I want, like you said, you don't like change.
Right.
I still wanted the character the way that I knew it. But they did it in a way that it's still such a way to tell an American tale, I guess, or just a tale between men and women. The guy's kind of like has an interest in her,
Right.
and then they talk, and there's something, and then he makes her realize that there's something, a little something, like at least redeeming, and then she's gonna have an emotional string, and she's going to do what she does. That's the basics. She saved him because she saw the humanity of Johnny Storm.
Right.
And the rest and the Earth, and it's just done differently in the comic book structure. But I still think, as far as the movie goes, it didn't take anything away from the movie from me.
Right.
I still appreciated the movie.
Yeah, and I read where some people were like, "It wasn't enough action." Listen, I thought it was. Not only did I think there was enough action, but when you get to the climactic part where it's like, okay, the battle with Galactus. And it's called the Fantastic Four. They're a team. They're a family. And I thought the way that they, from Reed stretching to, try to stop him and get the baby, to Johnny Storm doing what he needed to do, to Sue being the mother fighting for her child and pushing him back, and to the point where it pretty much killed her, to that moment where Galactus is hanging on to the building to stop her from pushing him back, and then the thing runs through the columns to break the building, and that action sequence from the time it started till the time it ended was pretty lengthy. I thought they gave you plenty.
Well, not only that, but they gave you a story behind it.
Right.
And they're the Fantastic Four. They all needed each other to accomplish this goal. And so when you see Sue Storm, she's pushing him back, and the thing goes, I got this, and he starts running and knocking down the building that he supported. All that action was needed, and there were. Listen, when we watch Superman, what's the action shot? And everybody said no one complained that there wasn't enough action. There's only one real, like, this momentous action shot to me.
In Superman?
Yeah. There's a lot of action, but there's one.
Is it the one with the raptors and he's shooting the lasers out of his eye?
No, the one that the action shot, the big.
The monster?
No, when he saves the girl, when that explosion comes and then he covers up the girl,
Yeah.
this big, and that's the one that's filmed in this way that's like action. Yeah, there's the others. Yes, the battle. You're expecting the battle, but there's some smart things you're not. I didn't expect, even though I saw some previews where he's knocking down those beams so that the building falls. I didn't know that's. That got me. That got me that was all part of one storyline where they're taking out Galactus.
Yeah.
It was intelligently done for a comic book. I thought this was amazing because that is necessary. Just in the details when he's shaving, when the thing's shaving, and he's really cutting down his rocks.
Right.
And then by the time we're done, he has a little rock beard, going on. Just some clever cuteness that they put into the movie that I thought was worthwhile to have in for the thing. And I heard people say his face wasn't expressive enough. He's made of rocks, man.
People just find shit to complain about.
But that's been the hardest thing for them to do in the movies is to make the thing
right.
Because you want him to be a character that you love.
Yeah.
And how do you love a rock? You have. I thought his character. I thought they found a way to get his character lovable.
Okay, so here's a quiz for you. If you're a woman and you're looking to be sexually satisfied, who do you go to? Richard Reed, who clearly can stretch his anatomy, or the Thing because he's rock hard and he's ribbed?
I think you go with Richard Reed.
Yeah.
I know, Mark.
Depends on my mood. His penis can't stretch. That's the thing I don't get is you have an arm, 2 arms, 2 legs, but sometimes I feel like you need another appendage to do whatever you're doing with your fighting bad guys. Why does his penis come out?
Because it's a PG movie.
Dude, who was I forgot what it is, but when it said, if you really get in a fight, just get naked. Because no one wants to fight. No one wants to touch the naked guy.
So if you watching 2 dudes getting ready to fight, and they're both dressed, you're a spectator, and you see one dude get undressed. At that point, you go, "Yo, that's pretty weird, right?"
Yeah.
But then what happens if the other guy gets undressed too?
Now it's not a fight anymore. Now it's just a battle for who's on top.
Right.
But you know what, that's funny though, because if one guy rips off his shirt and the other guy rips off his shirt, then just takes his pants. But you would leave. The guy who didn't take off his pants is going to walk away from that fight.
Yeah.
I think I don't know who. I don't know if that's in a movie or something. I've seen this before though, but that always cracks me up.
My only other note for this was, a lot of people were like, Marvel's fallen off ever since the Avengers kind of came to an end. Yeah, they've had a bunch of movies to come after the Avengers, but Marvel's really fallen off. And a lot of people are like, between Thunderbolts and this, Marvel's back. And now that they're saying they're really going to be back if Avengers Doomsday is good. And when they showed the credit scene, the post-credit scene, they said that is the best post-credit scene in any Marvel movie since Marvel was on top. And here's my thing. I love the fact that when they reveal it's Dr. Doom, and he's got the mask in his hand, they show the mask and show the kid. It gave you that feeling of,
yeah.
Here's what's taking the wind out of my sails. It's Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah, but
because I don't know how you watch this movie and not go, that's Tony Stark.
Because, and this is the great part about this, and this is where I think it all comes together. If you have Tony Stark, it's not Tony Stark. If you have Robert Downey Jr. and he's Doom, it takes you to another universe. Because
is this comic book now?
No. This is just where I'm saying, in this universe, you're going to have somebody that you recognize. Now you're going to have another universe. And how do you get the Fantastic Four to meet the Marvel universe? Because it's a standalone. This is a standalone. There's no other character in it until Doom comes in here, and Doom is going to bring this together.
I heard rumor Hemsworth is in Doomsday.
Makes sense.
Okay, that makes sense because he's still Thor. I'm just going. I don't. For me, it's distracting, and I don't think you should mix. If you were one thing in one franchise, don't come in a new franchise as a new character. I can't. That's off to me.
Listen, they have this figured out. There's no doubt in my mind they have put this together in a way that's going to be incredible.
Does Doctor Doom always wear a mask?
He's disfigured.
So does he?
Yeah.
Like
So then why do you need Robert Downey Jr. in it?
I don't think it should be Robert Downey Jr. Like, dude, Chris Evans, like I said, in the first 2 attempts at Fantastic Four, was Johnny Storm. And then those movies obviously weren't great. And then he goes on to become Captain America. If those movies did well and they went, yeah, let's do Fantastic Four 3, and we going to have Chris Evans play Johnny Storm, and in the Avengers, he's Captain America. You f*** me up. You f*** me up. Get somebody new.
Well, he was too old to play Johnny Storm now.
I think that's a mistake, Robert Downey Jr. playing Doom. I think it's a mistake.
I think it's going to be great. I really do think it's going to be great.
You're going to be able to watch him and not see and hear Tony.
First of all, Doom, if they do show his face, he's disfigured. So you're not going to see Robert Downey. You're not going to see Tony Stark. You're going to see a disfigured person.
But why would you do that if, like, why don't you just pay a nobody to play that character then, or save money? Because people are going to come and see it.
Because they're going to have there's some storyline that's going to make this work. They're going to do something cool. I think they're going to do something cool. I still like Marvel. I still like the Marvel product for movies, unless. I don't mean this like on standalones or Superman versus Batman. I like what they were doing in DC, and depending on if they ever get, and it looks like they might get this right.
Well, you sent it to me, the thing about Henry Cavill.
Yeah, but about getting Green Lantern right, I mean DC has characters that could
listen. They rumored, and you sent me the clip where they said. I think James Gunn said he would like to have Cavill back in the DC universe, and I'm just going, dude, why? It's like he was Superman. You got a new Superman, and now you kind of like if this feels like a what do you call it? Like a sloppy second. Like for what? I even heard them rumored that he might play Batman. You just had Ben Affleck as Batman.
But Ben Affleck isn't going to do Batman again.
No, he's not. But I'm saying you had Ben Affleck as Batman fighting against Henry Cavill's Superman. Now you going to put Henry Cavill as Batman? Well, come on, man. What y'all doing over there?
Well, because they want... I don't agree with this, but the reset was James Gunn has a different aesthetic. He likes things to be a little bit softer, a little bit happier, just a little... more sunshine on his.
But Batman's not a happy character.
Batman is a dark character, so I don't know how. And since they already have him as a dark character, I don't know. I really don't understand. There was too many different producers going in different directions, and now that James Gunn has it, listen, I don't really like his overall ideas for what these superhero movies are going to be, but I do like the idea of them, if they're going to put them together in a universe, that they come together and it works. They fit together. And so him leading this and setting up the universe that they're going to have, I'm okay with it because it's going to make sense eventually.
You know, you tell me because, you know, you're the one most knowledgeable about comic books.
And I'm not even that most knowledgeable about comic books. I have a little bit. I have only comics that I care about.
Tell me if I'm right or wrong, but wasn't there at one point a thing of DC versus Marvel?
Yeah.
Now, see, I think the timing is all wrong now, but it felt like that. Can you imagine back when, like, Avengers Ultron was around, and if they could have put that together? That would have been the ultimate battle rumble theatrically. DC versus Marvel. Well, oh, boy.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting because they're two different companies that own all these.
Exactly. So it's going to be a measuring contest. But if you could measure the so put the away, or don't get no involved, put egos aside for the sake of money.
But that's how they're going to make the money. How it's going to be split up. It's good. That would be interesting if they could do it. I don't know if they can. There's so many different iterations of these comic books because I just ordered. I guess I forgot what the name of it is, but Stan Lee wrote like a Green Lantern, a one-off, and he wrote some other DC properties. And so I just got. When I get home, I just got one in the mail, and I can't wait to read it. It's the Green Lantern one, and I don't think Stan Lee was very creative. I don't know that he's the best writer, but his storylines always were good. But the detail and he's the way he writes, it's very funny, especially the early stuff. But like I'm interested in seeing this. I don't know what they could do and where they could go. There's plenty of room to do other things. I want to see a standalone Silver Surfer, or he can be mixed into the universe. But I want to see an Oran Rat. I want to see the Silver Surfer that I grew up on.
So I know that Stan Lee created all these iconic Marvel characters.
I'm going to give credit to Jack Kirby though.
I was just about to ask you, how intricate is Jack Kirby?
But huge.
Oh, okay.
Because his partnership with Stan Lee is what was able to develop these, and then Stan Lee is actually, Jack Kirby is actually the one who created Silver Surfer. Stan Lee came up with an idea for a story, and Jack Kirby added the Silver Surfer character because he wanted something else. And I don't know who came up with the surfboard, but they didn't want somebody, I forgot which one, said, we don't need another spaceship. I think it was Jack Kirby. We don't need another spaceship, and put him on a surfboard. And that's how we got Silver Surfer. So Jack Kirby, Stan Lee got a lot of credit. Probably he was due the credit that he got. But there should have been some more credit given to some of the other writers because we have some issues with writers all the way down from with Spider-Man, with Spider-Man was a big one. They were just, Jack Kirby left because he wasn't getting the credit that he deserved. A lot of people left because they didn't. Stan Lee was he was the front man. He was the guy that was getting all this credit because he was kind of like the star of the show. But all the artists were back there, and how they develop comic books, how they work together is the process. And it's unfortunate that some of these great artists, and Jack Kirby to me is just, I did not, when I first in the 80s when I was buying comic books, there were so many great artists. Jack Kirby's artists looked very rough to me, and now when I look at it, I see what the genius is behind it. So it's different now.
Well, Fantastic Four. That's what I'm calling it because it was great.
It was great.
I loved it.
I really wanted to I wanted to stand up and clap because after so many misses, and there's a lot of people who say, hey, they still missed marks here and they did this. After so many misses, to get this group of actors together that actually captured this.
Yeah.
And I think it's good I think comic book fans enjoyed it. I think regular people enjoy it. I think they hit all the marks.
Oh, there was one more question I wanted to ask you in regards to all this stuff. So obviously the three biggest blockbusters of this summer anticipated was Jurassic Park, Superman, and this. From best to least.
Fantastic Four, Superman, Jurassic Park.
That's my order too.
Superman, I said, wasn't the Superman I wanted, but it was a good Superman. But I don't know why they did Jurassic Park again. If they were going to do something just knock my socks off, but they didn't find it. It wasn't on that island.
Listen, and when you say that, I go, what stopped Superman from being number one to me? That goddamn suit and that hair. What stopped Jurassic Park from being up there for me? That goddamn D-Rex.
No, what stops Jurassic Park is that they didn't have. There's no characters. They really just said we're going to put some dinosaurs with a few famous people in it.
But the dinosaurs were always the stars of the film.
But but then you have to have dialogue. Otherwise, make it a silent movie. Let's do a retro movie. Let's do it silent, and then it would be so good because it would almost be like a comic book where you would see the guy go like and make some big eyes at the dinosaurs, and then the screen would turn black, and it would just say you know, and then you do that if you just want them to be the stars. But the movie wasn't. I didn't get any of the characters. There was nothing was cohesive. They didn't ever bring everybody together. And at the end, I just saw, and you saw the ugly dinosaur.
Yeah.
So, nah.
Yeah.
Superman, dude, it was good, but come on, honestly,
That
after
fucking
seeing
boy band hair.
after seeing the Fantastic Four, the way that everybody worked together, the way that the superhero and the villain work against each other, and there was so much. And I know the Superman, they used comic book characters, but there was so much that he goes into the space between time, and then they have some. There was just so much that you had to go to these little details to get to the story. And this one, they gave you a good story right up front.
Yeah.
You didn't need the comic book to know it.
Like I said, it had heart. It had power. It was powerful. The cohesiveness, is that a word?
Yep.
The cohesiveness between the actors as their characters. Galactus, I had no complaints, man.
But I will say this: if James Gunn and the people that he's working with now they put all these like little breadcrumbs on the ground for these other movies that are going to happen. If he laid out all these little pieces, and I really felt like it was disjointed. There wasn't like it didn't come together for me. If he uses this as like just, you go to a buffet. There's a lot of different food. Doesn't always all go together, but you make your plate. And if he's doing that and setting it up so they can make different plates, so they can present all these DC pieces together, then maybe I'll look back at it and go, that's Superman. It laid it out. It laid out the whole run that DC is going to go on. And Marvel did that. They had a good 10-year run where they owned all the properties that were going to make this amazing experience. So hopefully they get to that. But I don't know that that's going to happen.
Dates. And remember, folks, it's called Sunday's Best on Netflix. The Ed Sullivan Show. Check that out.
Okay. Dates. Come on, man. There we go. Here we are. Guys, we just finished up at, and we didn't even talk about it, but a new place that we haven't been to before. We went to Comedy at the Carlson. Really cool place out here in Rochester, New York. Great club, great owners, great staff. It was cool, man. And next week we're going to be at Aries' place of youthful exuberance, where he was running around in New Brunswick, New Jersey. We're going to be at the Stress Factory. That's July 31st to the 3rd. If you try to get tickets and you weren't able to get any, we added more shows. I didn't add any. Aries added some. But there's another show that's being added even as I'm recording this, and you'll be able to get tickets for Saturday early if you haven't been able to get some seats. So please check that out. That's Stress Factory, July 11th through August 3rd. July 31st through August 3rd. I don't know where the 11th came from. August 7th through the 9th, we'll be at the Mic Drop Comedy Club in San Diego, California. August 15th through the 17th, we're going to be at the Bricktown Comedy Club in OKC. August 22nd through the 24th, we're going to be at the Tacoma Comedy Club out in Washington. August 28th through the 31st, Helium Comedy Club in St. Louis. And then we're going to be September 5th through the 6th at Hartford Funny Bone, obviously in Hartford. That's in Connecticut. September 12th through the 13th, we'll be at the Funny Bone in Kansas City, Missouri. September 18th through the 20th, we're going to be at Hyenas Comedy Club in Albuquerque, New Mexico. There's some dates. As always, if you want to check out if Aries is coming to your city, he has dates up on his website at ariesspears.com, and you can see his full run for the rest of the year, I think, on your... So check us out there.
There it is.
Is that it?
Fantastic Four.
Fantastic Four.
Fantastic Four.
demonetized.
Spears and Steinberg.
Thanks for listening to the Spears and Steinberg podcast. For more information on where to find us on the internet, visit spearsburgpod.com.